We're going to be talking about gap assessments, and today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the CIS critical security controls, and we're going to go ahead and export a gap assessment. After we export that assessment, we're going to go ahead and analyze and look at why we are at the percentage of completion that we are at, the 11% that you can see on the screen. Then what we're going to do is we're going to remediate one of those controls, and then we're going to export the gap assessment again so we can see our progress. So we can begin by looking at our home screen. We can click on the CIS critical security controls, and this takes us to the frameworks tab. And in the framework screen, we can see all of the controls that are contributing to our overall completion percentage. So we have a total of 17 categories that we can see here on the left-hand side, starting with inventory and control of enterprise assets, and then going all the way down to number 17, incident response management. And what we're going to do here is we're going to look at our completion percentage change when we remediate one of these controls. So currently we have 6 controls that are currently passing out of a total of 56 controls. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to go ahead and fix one of those, go through that process of fixing it, and then we'll export the gap assessment again so we can see how our progress has updated these controls. So first we'll just export the gap assessment as it is right now. So we can do that by clicking on the More button, and then we go down here to the Export Gap Assessment. This will save it as a PDF file, so we can go ahead and just click Save here, and then we'll have the PDF file. Now that we've exported our gap assessment, we can see the PDF file that it created. It created an 18-page document, and on each page it shows the different sections of the different controls. So here on the first page we have the inventory and control of enterprise assets. The second page we have the next section. The third page we have data protection. And then I want to go and look here onto the 5th page, account management. So 5.2, we're going to update this control right here. 5.2, we're going to update this, we're going to remediate it, and then after we do that, let's go and see how this updates our overall completion percentage. Okay, now that we're back here in Vanta, we can go ahead and go to the 5th section here, account management. And then we're going to go ahead and just do this control, 5.2. What we're going to do to update this, we're going to go ahead and click on it so we can see what we need to do to address this control. And what we can see here is we have some information about the control itself, some different information and identification for the control. And then what we see here is we see what we need to do under the tests section in order to remediate this. So we need to have an approved access control policy, which we currently don't have on file. So luckily Vanta has a built-in tool to build an access control policy through Vanta by just providing some basic input. So let's go ahead and walk through that process, get this control remediated, and then let's go see how it has updated our overall completion. So we can just click here on this, and it will tell us, needs attention, you don't have an approved access control policy yet. Remediate. Click on there, and then they tell us how to remediate. Use our policy templates to create and approve a custom access control policy for your company. So let's go ahead and go through this process. Once we click on that, it takes us to the policy section here. And as you can see, access control policy. Status not started. So we'll use Vanta's built-in tool to go ahead and create this access control policy. So we're just going to go through their walkthrough, and just for now I'm just going to take all of the defaults. It's going to essentially create us a default template that's going to have just the major requirements for an access control policy. And then we have the policy created, and we just click submit for approval. So that policy is completed and approved. You can see if we click here on policies, we can scroll down to access control policy, and we see we have OK right here. After waiting a few minutes for the system to update, we can go ahead and go back to the framework screen, go back to CIS, and now we can see our completion percent is at 13% now, and we have 7 controls out of the 56 complete. So let's go look at this section 5 again. Here in section 5, we now have the control complete, 1 out of 1. So if we click on here, we can see that we now passed the test. The company has an approved access control policy.